Hey guys, Making Money with Gary. Today is February 11th, 2025. I'm out here picking longleaf pine needles. I didn't pick a lot. I just picked right around 2 pounds, uh, around $54 in my pocket. I've been here for an hour. I haven't been here that long. Normally I like to come out and pick like 5 pounds, but today I only picked a little over 2 pounds, maybe 2 pounds, 4 ounces, just enough to complete two 18-ounce orders, or 1 pound orders, I call them. And I sold some pine needles over the last few days. I sold about, let's see, I sold, over the last 3 days, I sold like 8 pounds of longleaf pine needles. And I ended up selling, what did I sell? I sold a 2 pound order, two 1.5 pound orders. That's 3, 5, two, three, 1 pound orders. Yeah, 8 pounds. So that comes out to, what I sold was 40 times 3 is 120. And then 55 and 55 is 110. That's 230. And then for the 2 pound order, it's like 65. Around $295 I sold. And what I made, what one in my pocket would be around 50 or 45. I'll say 50. Okay, 50 for the 2 pound order. 27 for the for each 1 pound order. 27 times 3, 81. $81, and $50 is $131. And then the two 1.5 pound orders is 35 right around there. Yeah, so that's 70. So that's 70 on top of the total. So that's what I made in my pocket. I made 70 plus 81, which is 150, 151, and 50, which is $201. So I made $201, and that was probably about 3 days worth. So it's a good amount. Normally I do like 10 to 15 pounds every 5 days, and sometimes I'll do 25 pounds a week. Sometimes I'll do 30. Sometimes I'll be slow one week, and then the next week I'll get hit with 40 pounds or something. That's how it goes. It's up and down. But I do have a large customer base. I have a steady customer base. I've been selling the longleaf pine needles for 5 years. And they have to be hand-picked because they can't be raked. If they get raked, they're damaged. If they're damaged, people can't use them. Now here, right here in my hand, is $13 worth. It's around 8 ounces. And it rained out, so they're wet. And when they're wet, they're more compact. But this is an 8-ounce roll in my hand, believe me. And I mean, right now, it probably weighs like 10 ounces because it's wet. I got to dry it out. Well, I got to take them home and wash them, and then let them dry out for 24 hours, and then I weigh them, and then I bundle them. Because you can't bundle them when they're wet. You'll be selling the customer way less than what you're telling them you're selling them. Okay, I'm putting that in my bag. All right, and my bag is right around, like I said, it's 2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds, not much. Not really that much. It's barely like, it's $54 worth. But I've only been out here an hour. And normally, I like to come out for a couple hours, but I've been busy doing a lot of stuff. But tomorrow I'm going to have to come out and really pick, because I'm going to get hit, and my stockpile's running very low, and I like to keep a 20-pound stockpile. And right now, I'll be lucky if I'm down like 7 pounds or something. I mean, if I get hit with a bunch of orders, I'll run out, put it that way. What do people buy these for? They buy them to weave baskets. They buy them to make home decor. They buy them to weave plant holders that hang on the hang up on hang in the house or at the ceiling. They buy them to make mats. They buy them to make placemats. They buy them to make mats that hang on the wall. Decorations that are intricate, like woven, like wool or something, like woven with designs in them. And they could even make pictures into the mat that they weave. It's an artwork what the people do with these. And the American Indians have been using these for hundreds of years. For hundreds of years, the American Indians have been weaving things with the lonely pine needles. And when I first came down here and started selling these lonely pine needles, I was raking them in my front yard. I'm in South Carolina. And I was raking these in my front yard. The garbage man wouldn't take them. I had bags and bags and bags. I had to burn them. So I was burning them. So then I kept picking them up, and lonely pine needles, they get up to 20 inches long. And the ones in front of my house are all long. And I have 4 trees directly in front of the house. I have trees in back of the house. I have trees way down the side. And what happens is they fall every time the wind blows or it rains. A couple pounds will fall. I'll go out and pick them. I pick them every day. Every day I walk out my front driveway to go somewhere. Before I go somewhere, I'll spend 10 or 15 minutes picking them, and then I'll throw them on a chair that's right in front of my front gate. And then when I come home, I'll pick them up, bring them in the house, and I throw them in a bag. And then once that bag gets around 5 pounds, I start washing them and bundling them. And the way I wash them is I put them in the sink and I agitate them. I shake them back and forth in warm water with a shot glass of vinegar and a little bit of soap. And that'll kill any kind of fungus or anything. If there's anything on them, or if there's any microscopic insects, I don't know. The vinegar and the soap and stuff will clean them up and kill anything that's on them. And then I'll put them out to dry them out, and I'll put them up high on something to dry out. And then once they dry out, I'll bring them back in and I'll bundle them. And what I do is I put them up on something like I have a rack outside I put them up on. And then I'll put a 2x4 across them so they don't blow away. And I'll have them in a long row, like 6 feet long or something, all stacked. Let them dry out there and then put a 2x4 up over them. And that way they can't blow if it gets windy out. And then what I do is I'll bring them in the following day, or after they dry for a good 20 hours. And sometimes I even dry them in front of the heater in the house. I'll put them in front of a heater. I'll just put them in the room and above a vent or something, or near a vent. But I make sure they drip dry in the sink first, so all the water's out of them, and basically they just got to dry up. So, and then once they dry up and stuff, I make bundles. I make 8-ounce bundles, and I make 1-ounce bundles. And then I sell them. I sell 1-pound orders. I sell 2-pound orders. I sell 3-pound orders, 3.5-pound orders. Some customers will buy 2 or 3 orders at a time. Some customers will buy 1 order at a time. And they'll weave things, and they'll sell the things they weave on different websites, and they make money selling what they weave. And they'll weave wreaths with them that hang on the door for any holiday. And the wreaths that they make, they might get $30 each for them. And an 18-ounce order, which is a 1-pound order, plus I might give a couple ounces extra, they're going to make like maybe 10 or 15 wreaths. And say if they sell them wreaths for $30 each, if they make 15 of them or something, so $500. Say if they make 10 wreaths that are big and thick, and they sell them for $50 each, well, that's $500. Don't make $500, and they'll spend $40 to buy them off of me, and that's with shipping and everything. Actually, it's $41, and then when I ship them out to them, and they get them, they'll start weaving stuff, and they'll put it up for sale. And they sell it quick. It sells quick. People buy this stuff. They buy it all the time. You ever go to Hobby Lobby and see the stuff that Hobby Lobby sells and people buy? Well, people weave stuff with these baskets, and some of the stuff is considered like artwork, and I'll weave these baskets, and I'll have like a stone in the middle weaved into it, and they'll sell some of these baskets for $300 and stuff, and you wouldn't believe it. And they have all kinds of designs weaved into the basket. It'll look like an alligator or something. They could weave pictures into the basket or designs, and it looks really nice looking. And then what they do a lot of times with these craft people and hobbyists do is they'll take their basket and they'll dip it in wax. And it'll give it a shine and a gleam. Or they'll do something, they'll treat it with something, it'll look all waxy looking. And these longleaf pine needles, things have been weaved by the American Native Indians, and artifacts have been found that were hundreds of years old. And it was still intact and in working order. And they weaved, the American Indians weaved so many different things with these. They could weave something that could hold water. Don't ask me how, I don't know how, but I read about it, that they weaved backpacks. They weaved all kinds of stuff with these. These were, they used these longleaf pine needles. They were like, they weaved stuff to that they needed. And that's been going on for hundreds of years, and now it's like it's an art thing, almost like a painter paints paintings and sells his artwork. Well, people weave things and sell their artwork, and they make just as much money as the people that paint and make artwork. So it's a big market, and people don't understand. They think it's a small market. It's a big market. There's a lot of people doing this, a lot of people selling them, and a lot of people weaving. And there's people that take classes and they learn how to weave. And it's something. It's hard to believe. Well, look, I'm going to show you a pine needle. I want to show you a needle. Let's see if I got a nice one here. Oh, here's one here hanging on the tree. No, let me get okay. All I want to show you is a needle there's 3 needles on one prong. You see the 3 needles on the one prong? There's 3 of them. And they're on one piece. So every one needle is 3 needles in one. And you see how flexible and bendable they are? Here, all the 3 are together now in the one. And you see how it bends? See that? And they could weave these and weave all kinds of stuff with them. They could even weave a keychain with these. I mean, but to be practical, they weave a lot of home decor. But, and these things will last they'll last for a long time. I mean, they ain't gonna blow away or nothing. They'll be around for a long time. And it's a good hobby. It's a good hobby. A lot of people do it, and a lot of people sell stuff. And a lot of people make a lot of things and sell them. And there's people that weave these things, and they sell a lot of crafts and stuff. You got to Google it. Weaving longleaf pine needles. Longleaf pine needle baskets. See what comes up. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much money they get for this stuff. And anybody can pick these longleaf pine needles. They only grow in certain zones. They grow in zone 7, 8, and zone 9. And I'm in South Carolina. I'm in one of the zones. They grow here. They grow up north as far as, I believe, Virginia, all the way down to Florida, and all the way out to Texas. And it's all the southern states going out to Texas. I don't think they grow in any of the northern states. And I don't believe they grow in California. But hey guys, check out my other videos on my channel. I just started doing gem hunting. And it's a new thing I'm doing too. It's another venture, the gem hunting thing. And I'm going to be doing that along with this. And I also sell vintage books, and you can check that out too. I go to thrift stores and I buy vintage books, and I'll buy them in a thrift store for $1 or 50 cents. and I'll turn around and sell them for $10, $20, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. I mean, I found I found books signed by Jimmy Carter. I sold one a while ago for 150. I still have another one in my store for 200 or 300. And I find books signed by famous people. What happens is a relative or an uncle or a great aunt or maybe a grandparent will pass away. And then the kids or the grandkids, they'll inherit the property. And what they'll do is, and I can't say this with 100% certainty, but I believe this is what happens. And what they do is they'll sell the property. They'll take all the stuff out of the property, remove it, all the books and things, and they'll donate them to a thrift store. And they won't look in the books and see if they're signed by anybody famous or nothing. They'll just get rid of them. And then the people that work in the thrift store, they get hundreds of books donated every week, and they have to just stack the shelves with them. They don't have time to open every book up and see, oh, is this book, this is a Jimmy Carter book. Was it signed by the president? This is a Ronald Reagan book. Was it signed by Ronald Reagan? Or this book here is a famous golf player. Was it signed by him? They don't look at the books. Oh, is this book a first edition or a second edition? How much value? They don't look at any of that stuff. They just stick the books up and put them on a shelf. Sell them for $1.50. Now, some stores do check the books out, and the stores that check the books out are way overpriced, and I don't go to them stores. And once in a while, I will go to Goodwill, once in a great while, and Goodwill is way overpriced. I mean, the books are $2, $3, but then if they have a book that's signed or anything, or any kind of book they think it's worth any money, they'll ask $10 for it. Forget it. I won't do it. I refuse to go to Goodwill. So I will go there. Don't get me wrong. Goodwill is all right. But I won't buy things that are overpriced. I refuse to do it. I'm out to make money. I'm not out to lose money. But that's another thing you could do. So I'm just letting you know, if for some reason you're out in California and you can't pick longleaf pine needles and sell them, you could either go gemstone hunting, which there's a lot of quartz and gems out there in California, or you go to a thrift store and find books and look in them, see if they're signed or if they're a first edition, see what they sell for, how popular they are, and you can sell books. And you could do it, believe me. When I first started, I was kind of skeptical about the book thing. I'm moving roughly 100 books a month. So I'm doing very well with the books. And the same thing with the longleaf pine needles. I'm 24/7 with these longleaf pine needles. I'm moving like 100 pounds a month of longleaf pine needles. I have to pick like 5 times a week. I'm picking every other day. Every time I walk out my front door, I'm picking. It's like a habit now. It's like an addiction. But now that the rock gem hunting thing, I just started that. I stumbled on this site where there was tons of riverbed rocks that were dumped deep in the woods. And all trees overgrown the area and stuff, and people don't know about it. And I found these, and I looked it up. I did a search on Google and everything, and I found out they were dumped back in 1924. I started looking through these stones and things, and I found petrified wood, Paleo, ancient Indian stuff, artifacts, and fossils, and all kinds of gemstones. Not real valuable gemstones, but where I could take a pound or two and make $20 or $30, and I could, jasper, aventurine, red quartz, rose quartz, chart, agate, and some of the stones are more valuable than others. So that's my new venture. That's my new venture, guys. So look, if you're into making money, keep checking out my videos. And this is one way to make money, picking longleaf pine needles. And yet, when you first start, you're going to be slow doing it because it takes time to get fast at it. It took me about 6 months to get where I could pick a couple pounds in an hour. Before that, I was very slow. So, and you'll figure it out as you go. And try to get them fresh, try to get them long, try to get them over 11 inches long. The longer they are, the better. People like long pine needles. They don't want short ones because they got to keep changing them out to weave. If they get long pine needles, they can weave continuously, and they can weave fast, and they can make their product fast. If they're short pine needles, it takes them longer, and it's harder for them to work with them. But all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you really like it, subscribe to my channel. Okay, thank you. Over and out.